Hey everyone, welcome to this Facebook Live session. And today I'm going to talk about the fastest, easiest way to double your business revenue. So I came across this model in some of the reading I've been doing this week and got really excited about it and the simplicity of it. So I wanted to get onto Facebook and share it with you folks. Also on YouTube, so if you're watching on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, same thing, both spaces. So let's get cracking and get into it. First thing, make sure the technology is working. How are you going to go about increasing revenue business? You really have four main levers. So number one is to get more new customers. Average business is losing somewhere between 10 and 25% of their customers year on year. So you want to be adding to your customer base every year, and you want to be doing that by at least about 10% or so. So there's one lever that you've got that you can use to drive yourself toward doubling your revenue is increasing the amount of customers that you bring into the business. And to be doing that, you want to think about putting in place systems that automate the process of adding new customers to your business. So that's number one. The second thing is to try and gradually increase the value of each sale that you make. And to do that, you can do things like, to take a step back on that. One of the biggest challenges that small businesses have is that they actually underprice themselves. So very often I come across businesses where they just aren't charging what they're worth, or they aren't charging the right value for the product or the service. So you need to think about, are you charging the right amount for your product or service, and can you raise that price slightly? Dan Sullivan once said, think about the scariest number and then add 20% to that. So think about a number that kind of scares you for your product or service, and then add 20% onto that. And obviously you need to be delivering value to your customers and delivering something they want. So that's insanely important. But if you are doing that, then looking at that scariest number and adding that 10% or that 20%, it shouldn't be something that's difficult to do. So the other thing in terms of increasing the value of the sale is to think about how you might bundle up products, how you might package things differently, how you might look at sort of taking services and bundling them together to subscription models. So there's a number of things that you can do to increase the value of each of your sales. Next, try and get customers to buy from you more often. So create recurring revenue streams. And if you're doing some of the things that we talked about in last week's session, where I talked about the 4 marketing strategies that you can implement right now that aren't going to cost your business anything. One of those was about delivering excellence, not delivering mediocrity. So being better than everybody else out there, being insanely good at what you actually do. And if you're doing that, you can get your customers to buy more from you. What you need to be doing is getting in front of them more often. And we talked last week about CRM and having a database of customers and keeping in touch with them regularly, and a database of prospects and keeping in touch with them regularly. And you want to be telling those customers and those prospects about what you're doing, how you're creating value for them, how you addressing their wants. And you need to be doing that regularly, almost every single week. So you're adding value, you're addressing their wants, and here's how I can help you every week solve the problems that you're facing. And then the third thing is kind of something that keeps coming out all the time, is just increasing and improving customer retention. So how do you try and drive up customer retention a little bit year on year, and just keep getting better and better at what you're doing? And a lot of the videos that I've done on YouTube and on Facebook, there's a lot on how you can increase your customer retention and things that you can do there. So Now we're going to get into this model, and I'll tell you who I got the model from and why it's excited me so much, but it really comes down to the simplicity of this model. So let's start with an example business. And let's figure out how we get the slide to change. There we go. So I'm going to say that this is your current business, and let's take something like maybe a marketing agency, a digital agency. You have 30 odd customers at the moment. So current customer base is somewhere around 30. And those customers are doing an average of around 4 transactions with you every year. And the average value of that transaction is somewhere around $2,500, £2,500, €2,500, whatever your currency is, 2,500 yen, depending on where you're coming in from. And they're typically with you for about 5 years. So what if you could increase each of these numbers by just 5%? So each of these levers, you're just adding 10% to each of these levers. And this model came from a book called The 7-Figure Exit Plan by Trent Lee. Great book, worth a read. He's got a business out in Las Vegas, buying and selling businesses. He does this all the time, and I just really enjoyed how he looked at this. So back to the model. What if you just increase things by 10%? So here's what happens. You take a number of customers up by just 10%, and this is over a period, we'll get to a period of 5 years. By just 10%, you're talking about 33 customers. And you got to take into account that you're going to be losing some customers. So it's whatever you're losing plus 10%. So you start with 30, and let's say you're doing really well. You're knocking off, or you're losing 5% of your customers a year. You've got to do a little bit more than 10% to hit that 33. But the point is, you're going to be adding 10% every single year to your customer base. You want to increase the average number of transactions you have with your customer by 10%. So in this case, 4.4. The average value of the transaction goes up by 10% to 2,750 per transaction. And you're doing so well at retaining them, you're really working on it, that you're keeping them an extra half a year or so. So what's the end result? Well, you go from 1.5 million to just under 2.2 million. That's a 46.4% increase in revenue. Just 10% on each of these items. And that's why this kind of idea was so, wow, all you have to do is start kind of focusing on lifting these things by 10%. But here's where the magic really comes in, okay? Because we're not going to do each one by that exact number. I remember Dan Sullivan a few minutes ago saying, he said, think of a scary number, drive think of it something, a number that scares you, and lift it by 20%. So let's change the model a little bit to be maybe slightly more realistic. Take a look at this example. So your number of customers is 30, and you want to increase that number by 20% year on year. So over the time, you've got your marketing and sales engine working really well. So you're now 36 customers. The average transactions, we're going to keep it conservative. So up to 4.4, 10%. The average value of the transaction is at 20%. I was talking about, so up to $3,000 instead of $2,000 or pounds or euros. And again, retention, your customer lifetime, pushing 30% and 6.5 years. And what's the compounding increase here? Well, going from 1.5 million to just over 3 million. 105% increase, 106% just about increase in your revenue. It's a phenomenal change. So why am I telling you this, and why is this so important right now? Well, aside from the obvious, owning a business is one of the best investments you can have. SMEs outperform savings by 4,000%, outperform retail by 415%. I've got these figures off Roland Fraser, who dug in and pulled all this together, and been on one of his courses on buying businesses and how to help entrepreneurs and the economy by by buying businesses at the moment, and he done a whole lot of research and came back with this. So thanks very much, Roland. But your business is one of your most valuable investments. And if you're thinking about exiting over the next few years, you need to be working on building the value. And again, I say, you're probably saying, well, yeah, it seems obvious, but why? Well, there are 50 million baby boomers who are going to retire over the next 10 years. That comes from insured retirement. 12 million of those own businesses from Wealth Management Report. But only 20% of businesses that go to market actually end up selling. The rest, mothballed, maybe get handed down, closed doors. My question to you is, after all the work that you've put into your business, is that what you want to see happen to your business? So now's the time to focus on building value. And I think this model is brilliant. It's simple. There's 4 levers that you can work on. Take them away and figure out how you can move the needle on each of those levers by between 10 and 30% over the next 2 to 3 years to double the value of your business, whether you're selling or not. That's it for this week. Have a great weekend. If you're watching on Facebook, then just kind of, or YouTube, get in the comments, share your thoughts. Love to hear them. If you're on either platform, make sure you follow the sessions every Friday. So we've got a Friday Facebook Live, and it'll go out on YouTube as well. And yeah, have a spectacular week and get some rest in.